right? First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kapradash. Second, I want to give double honor to the Apostle G.M.S. the rule as well. Our teachers. Third, I want to say peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, to so-called Negro, Latino, Hispanic, Native Americans, which are waiting for the return of our Lord Yahushua. This is Shaquakara from GMS, Virginia. Back at it again. And this is the Willie Lynch letter, page 5. This is Willie Lynch that made the speech on the banks of James River, I believe in 1712. Now it says, I'm going to jump right in it. It says, I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprising slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires, your animals are killed. And while he came in with this new legislation and the new plan to be conjured up is, you don't want your slaves to constantly hate you, rebel against you. You're losing money. You're losing slaves. You're wasting money. So everything's about $1. It's about $1. So the strategic plans to keep you niggas in check. And one was again, you don't want to. You just gotta think about it. You so-called blacks, Latino, Hispanics. You gotta think like your oppressor. If you had livestock, if you had slaves, you wouldn't want, to lose money. You want the most bang for your buck. So this is what, again, when you, for instance, if you buy a car, if you buy some dogs or some animals, and you planning on the breed, you wouldn't want a irate dog. If you get the Presso Canario, you get the Cane Corso, you get the Doge Argentino, you get the Frenchie, the Bulldog, the Bull Mastiff. You get what I'm saying? You want the best, and you want, you don't want your dog to run away because that's your money. You don't want your dog to bite you because, that can fuck you up. You don't want your dog to mess up your yard, or you don't want your dog to rouse up the other dogs. You want him to be happy so you can make your money off of him. Well, that's how we were. We were livestock. We were animals. So he came with a plan. And it says, gentlemen, you know what your problem are. I do not need to elaborate. So it was uprisings. It was distress. It was, Esau was scared. He couldn't sleep at night. But he said, you want to sleep good at night? Listen to me. I'm not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. Why this is important, because this is one of the most critical things that is happening today, and this is the main focal point that Jake talked about today. It says, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, because one thing, even to this day, this is what Jake does, And yes, we can pick each other apart for billions of things. But, since we pick each other apart so fluently, it has become like the norm. And this is why Esau is able to basically get away, escape, and not to be blamed, or the accusation be put on. Because Jake is constantly bickering amongst each other. So it says, I take these differences and make them, he said, and I take these, so I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves. This is page 6. And I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. I want y'all to focus on this word envy. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There's intelligence. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantation, status on plantation, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. Focus on that word, distrust and envy. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, matter of fact, I'm going to stop there. Now, I'm going to read these precepts. So, and when you look at the most crime, hatred, dysfunction is in the so-called black, Latino, Hispanic households and West Indian, Caribbean households. So it says Galatians 5:19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery. Adultery is heavy amongst our people. A man who has a woman that's married to a woman, he will sleep with another man's woman, and that's envy and distrust. Cause the nigga always got that. I gotta get him before he get me. And also a woman who has a husband, off the envy and hatred she had toward her fellow women, so-called black, Latina, Hispanic woman, she was, and also towards her own man, and it's going to go into that, she will sleep with another man. Fornication, spiritual, and even in his flesh. Uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings. And that's what you see amongst the inner cities and the ghettos and the slums and the caseríos and the favelas, because Esau put our people against each other. So it says Galatians 5:26. To sum up, I'm going to just start at verse 24, because this is what Yahweh Shah came to redeem us and deliver us from, this flesh. Because Esau taught us basically to live off the flesh. Galatians 5:24, and they that are Yahweh Shahs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lust. And see, that's why Esau can't blindside us no more. And that's why ultimately, when we come into this gospel and this truth, we're all to truly show affectionate and learn how to deal with each other as a nation. Now, yes, we understand that the Lord did bring division amongst on the earth, but it was due to his purpose to gather the elect and get away with the 2/3 and then punish the heathen. So if we live in the spirit, let us also walk in this spirit. Let us not be desirous of vain glory, provoking one another, envying one another. Because again, all amongst the so-called black community, this is what you see. In the so-called Hispanic Latino community, this is constantly what you see amongst our people. And that's why there's all types of ill-mannered, wicked works of the flesh. And, nobody wants to live in the ghetto. You got to be out your raggedy-ass mind to want to live there. So it says, 1 Peter 2:1, wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, and as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. And that's why you had to start all over being born again, because we were erected and born into a world which was full of evil and a bunch of hypocrisy and a bunch of backward people. We become worse than the heathen and more wicked than the wicked. So, 1 Corinthians 13. Let me see. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not of itself, is not puffed up. And that's in what Jake started, especially with rap music, gangster rap. What Esau did was purposely set Jake toward each other to devour each other and puff each other up over each other. But you never see a nigga puff himself over Esau. You never see a so-called black man say he's better than a so-called white man or these other nations. Their whole desire and meaning is purposely to be designed to eat and prey off each other and destroy each other's image. While Esau is in the back burner doing so and pushing and giving and gaslighting it. So Titus 3 and let me see. Well, yes, at one time, at times, and that's why the Lord told us to, put off the flesh, because at times, and this is the world we come from. Titus 3:3. For we also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful and hating one another. Some of us were into them gangs and selling drugs, etc., preying on our women and women preying on men, prostitution, etc. So James 3:16, for where envy and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. And that's why we ghettos, the slums, the favelas, caseríos, it's every sort of manner of evil. Man, it's men, dads preying on their own daughters, their own sons, uncles preying on their own children, their own nephew, nieces, the mom sleeping with the son, the mom teaching the son to hate the father, the mother's teaching the daughter to be a whore, the father teaching the son to be a drug dealer. It's just a bunch of evil and wickedness. That's why 2/3 have to die, because there's no fixing them at all. So going back, it says, yes, distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect or admiration. That's why Jake don't respect each other. That's why you got to be very careful when you move amongst our own people. And even if if you come to Virginia, you go to New York, Baltimore, Philly, D.C., Boston, Atlanta, Birmingham, list goes on. L.A., Compton, etc. The black slaves are receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on, and will become self-refueling. So it's going to be of a cycle. It's going to continue on and self-generate for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. We're in 2024. It's still going on. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male. That's evident to this day. Going to this all those little shows, you constantly seeing the old people against the young against the old woman against the young woman, the old male against the young male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves. Pam and Gina Martin. That comes right to my mind, because one thing I've noticed even about Martin, me personally, I didn't grow up watching Martin. I didn't like Martin. One thing I saw was how Martin had Gina, the light skin, the light skin one, and then how Martin and Pam always go against each other. So basically, growing up, you always had that so-called black chick that was of dark skin that you would crack jokes on. In the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slave, you must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. And this is what you're seeing today. And man, oh man, truth is in the light. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. Now let me get this real quick. And this is why, when we try to tell our people this, they don't listen. Because our people are wholeheartedly dependent on the so-called white man to be a hero. Jeremiah 17:5, thus said the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. And our people have fallen way far from Yahweh Bashim Abashah. And going into the what is Romans, the first chapter, our people serve Esau, the creature, more than our power. And returning to the Lord is nothing desirable to turn back to the Lord too. That's why 2/3 gotta die. What is it of vain help? You also have the scripture where it says, when you have when you put a king over you, it's supposed to be somebody of your own nation. So why is Jake right now constantly wanting to put Esau and make Esau Lord over them? So it says, Lamentation 4:17, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain hope. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. And Jake is constantly looking out for Esau to save them. Sirach 13:23. So it says, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith. They extol it to the clouds. And when master talk, Jake shut up. But if the poor man speak, they say, hey, what is the so-called black woman talking about now? If he don't have no 6-figure and all of this bullshit, we ain't listening to him. Well, that was purposely done for this very reason. And that's why the so-called black woman is the number one woman out there, starting, of the tribes, who's telling their own woman to go back to Massa and sleep with Massa. But again, Massa doesn't. He gonna show you how much he loves you. So it says, but if a poor man speak, that's why the so-called black woman and the other and Latino Hispanic women, they don't really disregard the so-called black man, Hispanic man, as a man with as righteousness, or somebody they should listen to, because again, we've been duped. We've been put against each other. What fellow is this? And if he stumbled, they will help to overthrow him. So since our image has been destroyed, and since the plot has been put against each other, what Esau does is use and put the battery in on our woman's back to overthrow us. Thus, feminism. But really, the all in all is the goal is to destroy the 12 tribes of Israel. And once you got the top tribe, which is the tribe of Judah, and the second of Northern Kingdom is the top tribe of Northern Kingdom is Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. And since they've been destroyed, you have basically all the tribes in control. Going back to the Willie Lynch. So it says, but it is necessary that our slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Meaning, this is Willie Lynch talking about Massa. Esau. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them, have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. Esau have not missed an opportunity, even to this day. So let me see. So it says, let me end it. So it says, if used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. So there you have it. And you see, even amongst Israel, you see a lot of that going on too. Envy and distrust, the lack of adulation, admiration, and respect. Thus, you have men that get disgruntled. You have men that are in high positions that can acknowledge other men for their, for what they have learned in their labor. So you get what I'm saying. This distrust and envy thing, Esau have masterminded it and used it to destroy our people. Thus, the bickerings, etc. And instead of so yes, there's rebukes that happen, but instead of accepting those rebukes and changing, they get proudful and talk shit. Instead of seeing that as brotherly love, they see that as the chance to spew out hatred and hypocrisy and disdain and envy. But Lord's wisdom is edified with that. Shalom.